Hey, Trinity Church, this is Pastor Derek. I wanted to take a minute to let you know about some of the plans that we've made for our life together as a church. Basically, this Sunday, June 7th, we're going to be inviting folks to come back to gather for worship in person. The session met on Sunday and we approved a three-phase plan for regathering as a church. The first phase, which is starting this Sunday, will be a pretty restricted and modified service. And over time, we'll move into a less restrictive but still pretty modified service. And eventually, we'll get to hopefully a new normal for our church. The full plan with all the details is going to be on the website, on the blog, and you can go to www.trinitychurchws.com to see all that we've laid out there. We talk about some of the theological considerations and guidelines that have informed our decisions going forward. We listed a lot of the considerations regarding health and the virus and how it's spread on there as well. And so you can find a lot of the sources for where we're getting our information, both about the virus and health, but also from church leaders and how they're recommending we regather again. What are some of the best practices? You'll see some of the goals that we have and what we're aiming at in this plan, and even some of the metrics that we'll be using going forward to make decisions about whether we move to the second phase and the third phase, or if we need to move backwards. And that'll really be dependent on what's going on in our community and what the experts are telling us, what the authorities are telling us needs to happen. So we don't have a timeline yet about when we'll arrive at the new normal, but we're going to move to that first phase of regathering this Sunday. One of the things we're going to need to do is have you register in order to attend the service. And so there will be an event on the Realm where you can go and each person or one person from each household can register for their whole entire household if they would like to attend. And we'll also have a link on the website where anyone who wants to come on Sunday can register. There's going to be a limit to the size, and if we go over that limit, we're going to end up moving to a second service. We'll have two services. So for now, we're moving the service up to 3:30 p.m. instead of our normal 4:30 p.m. service. So all the details will be on the registration event. Overall, we want you to know that we have been aiming to promote your safety and the safety of our community and the decisions we've been making, as well as the needs that we have in our church and in our community and our mission as God's people. So all of that has been shaping how we've been going about the decisions we've made thus far and what we're going to be trying to do going forward. Lastly, I just want to charge you in a number of ways as we enter into this next portion of this very extraordinary season that we're in. First, I want to encourage you, if you do plan to return to worship on Sunday, to use caution. As always, we want to urge you not to come to church if you are sick. If you have any symptoms of illness, then please consider others and don't come. Take time to make sure that you're well and that you're no longer going to be contagious. If you've been exposed to somebody with the coronavirus, we encourage you to take time to make sure you're isolated before you return to gathering with us. So as always, use caution if you're going to come. But also, we want to just say that everyone needs to follow their conscience about whether or not it's the right time for them to return. Everybody has different concerns and needs and circumstances that they have to consider about whether or not it's right to return to worship at this time. And so we don't want anyone to feel pressured to return to church if it's not the right time for their family. There are folks who are really in need of being able to reconnect, and there are others who have less things that they need to worry about for their own family and loved ones based on the way they live. And so, everybody's in a different place, and everybody has different concerns that need to shape their decisions. And so we want people to continue to feel the freedom to follow their own conscience about whether or not it's right for them. And that leads really into the last charge I want to give, which is that I really want to encourage us all to be exercising a lot of charity and grace toward one another. Like I said, we all have different circumstances. one of the difficulties in this whole situation is how much information that we're getting and the speed at which we're getting all this information. And of course, everyone's looking at different information, and we all feel like we're seeing more clearly than other people, and it can lead us to do something that's really unfair to people, where we judge their motives, or we impute sort of the worst possible motives to people, or just assume the worst about them being reckless or about being overly concerned. There's a lot of politics around all of this, and so we really want to encourage you not to let this divide our church, and to really give space for people to have different feelings and opinions about how we move forward. We want to honor one another in those differences and let each person be convinced in their own mind what is right for them. And then we want to exercise grace toward each other. We're all going to stumble and do things that maybe others don't think are the right way to handle things. And we need to show grace. And it doesn't mean we don't ever speak up and talk about those things. But we really don't want this coronavirus season and our regathering plan to become an occasion for conflict and division, when God has called us to be a united people across all the differences that we have. So let's consider one another and be caring for one another and for our surrounding neighbors. Let's also not forget who we are, and let's make sure that we exercise a lot of grace and charity toward one another. So I hope to see you all in the future. I look forward to seeing some of you even this Sunday. And may the Lord make you increase and abound in your love for one another. God bless.